quick intro to this series of videos. Back in March, we did our first live podcast where we talked about some of the most influential movies in our lives. We wanted to share some of our favorite moments from that podcast. If you want to listen to that complete podcast, the link will be in the description. And if you like what you hear, please subscribe to our channel. Now, onto the video.
All right, well, let's go to your next pick. So we started off with
Oh,
Raiders
this
of
is
the
gonna be
Lost
a
Ark.
thing.
This is going to be a thing that I think we got to try and contain a little bit, but go ahead. Again, I give the floor to you.
Uh-huh. Being able to contain this thing called Star Wars.
Star Wars?
Holy
I've
moly.
never heard of it, Soto. Tell me about Star Wars. No.
Yeah, it's actually an indie film from like the 70s, late 70s. And it was all like done with models and everything like that. It's a science fiction movie. Yeah, Star Wars, holy shit. Where do I even start? Um, One of the, again, that was the same time I was watching Raiders of the Lost Ark, and was just going through that whole situation of just kind of understanding movies. But man, oh man, I watched Star Wars a lot when I was a fucking kid. I watched it all the fucking time. I was obsessed with the whole like vibe of it, the whole like science fiction part of it. Again, Harrison Ford, no coincidence, amazing here. One of my first role models of being I think to the asshole that I ended up turning into as an adult. I have to blame Han Solo because I thought that that was cool, and the older I've gotten, it's actually not cool to be like Han Solo at all. But yeah, dude, Star Wars, holy shit, it's dominated my life. From my opinions of the OG trilogy to my well-known opinions about the prequels, and also my opinions about the new movies too. Which one day,
We'll get to
hopefully,
it.
one day we'll get to it. We'll be you in madness. We'll literally talk about every single movie in the
Order.
canon, but in order, which will require me to have a lot of beer. But we'll get to that. But yeah, Star Wars was such a huge part of my life. I had the toys, I had everything, um, and even some of the anime that I was watching in the '80s too was influenced by Star Wars too, and it's just such an iconic, you know, part of film history um, that for me kind of I think launched the whole entire franchise thing that we see today about movies being blockbusters and having huge cultural impacts, and this is a movie that did. And it's I was born in the early '80s, so obviously I saw this right when I was like really really young, and even to watching the Acolyte trailer that just came out yesterday, like I'm still thinking about Star Wars. So I could go on for hours about Star Wars and all of my opinions, but I think it speaks for itself, and I'm one of those people that also is part of the train of being like Star Wars was hugely influential to what I thought cinema is, and really Star Wars is a big reason is why I even watch movies to begin with.
And I do agree. This was a tough one to keep off my list as well. And I like you, I grew up Star Wars fan. I had a lot of the toys. So it is. And the original trilogy, I know some people might shit on Return of the Jedi, but I'm like, it was a perfect end to that trilogy. I mean, to have a happy ending like that. Um,
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
it's
nothing
supposed
wrong
to.
with
Like
it.
Empire. No, no, there's not. But some people are like, fucking Ewoks. I'm like, you've seen so many creatures throughout this trilogy. I'm like, you're pissed about the little Chewies? I know it's not the same, species, but still. And whatever, I know it's a little bit more for kid friendly, but still, every part, every movie was perfect as a kid. Now I know we can pick apart some parts, and watching as adults, you'd be like, huh. Oh, here we go. Sorry, Matt has just joined the chat. What's the next film we discuss? So he's just popped in right in time for Star Wars. Uh, but yeah,
Oh
so
man, that would
no,
be
no.
a
I
great
mean,
podcast.
Star Wars is definitely was influential to a lot of people our age.
Hmm.
Because it was kind of the first real blockbuster that had a story that continued from movie to movie to movie. It's not like we can just pick up at Return of the Jedi and expect to know what's going on. You kind of need to see all three to understand these characters and stuff like that. And yes, Han Solo, one of the best characters ever. And obviously Luke, we all wanted to kind of be, the good guy that saves the day. Um,
Not
the,
me.
Well,
I
they
want to be
all
Han
saved the
Solo,
day.
goddammit. I
I'm
was
always the
like,
clean cut good guys between him and Leonardo and stuff like that. I mean, it's just the way we work. But yes,
yeah.
we talked about the Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior. I got to be the clean cut
Oh,
guy. I don't
I
know
was a
why, but it's
warrior
also,
guy, dude.
but again, it was my age group and stuff like that, and it's just yeah. I mean, and plus I love the lightsabers, so you just come out, shoot a gun, but anyhow, yes, no, Star Wars is a great film, and we could talk about this again and again, and hopefully someday we do, talk about some of the other films that we've watched or haven't watched, I should say, that we need to discuss with Madness, like the Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. We should at least finish out the prequels one day, but no, Star Wars is a.
Oh,
If
God.
you are a filmmaker and a film fan, this definitely
Yeah.
heavily influenced us. If you're our age group, because it's just also just visually stunning. I mean, just everything. You're just amazed and you're just into this world and stuff like that. So,
It's
yeah.
one of those things where it's like this is a film franchise that is literally generational. Like generations have different opinions about where they are in this franchise. Like for you and I, 4, 5, and 6, like that's what we grew up on. For the people that grew up like in the 90s, that prequel trilogy is the first Star Wars that they ever saw, and they
Hmm.
loved it.
Yep.
And then both of us can agree, both generations typically agree that the new ones are fucking shit. So we
Yeah.
don't agree on like which one's better, the OG trilogy or the prequel. Well, first of all, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, but I won't get into that. I'm not gonna troll anybody right now. But the new movies are like absolutely dog shit, except for Force Awakens, which is watchable. But it's just we agree that the way that that ended was probably not the best way.
No, no, but it happened. So, oh my God. But yeah, no, Star Wars, good pick. And yes, and if you're listening, Phantom Menace, we have a Rotten Taste episode of it with Madness here. You'll hear more about between the OGs and the newer, or the prequels, excuse me, I almost said newer trilogies. Let's not get that wrong. Um, but yes, I think
Those are
we will.
war.
We have May 4th coming up. Maybe we do Attack of the Clones. Figure that shit out. So
May the 4th? Okay, yeah, maybe I don't know.
if
I
we
don't
if we
know.
got
I'd
if we
like
got
to
time, let's say we got a little bit on our schedule, but maybe we can figure out what we're gonna say with.
I was just saying, like, I'm just trying to think of which Star Wars movies we would watch. Like, I guess you're right. We have to finish with the prequels and go there,
Well, if we have
but
Madness join us, we ask. We got to do the
yeah.
prequels. We got to finish the prequels.
Oh,
Well, actually, we got to see if it qualifies. I don't know if it's under, if it's now under 60%. So
oh no,
well,
it's beyond that. We got to have this conversation. I don't care
well,
what it's rated. You know what I mean?
we're just I know,
Fuck it.
but you.